Afternoon everyone, it's Nicola Cairncross here and welcome back to the channel. I wanted to talk to you today about checking in. One of my previous best friends, business partners, put a thing out on her Facebook timeline about how she gets all her clients to check in with her once a week, ideally on a Friday or first thing on a Monday. And it reminded me of one of my best bosses ever, Benny Gray from the Space Organisation, who used to never let you go home before you sent him a little report at the end of the week. And woe betide you if you didn't send that in. The report consisted of 3 simple questions. What's been good? What are you working on? And what can I help with? And of course, in the what's been good section, you would automatically, naturally just write what your challenges are as well. All those would go under the what can I help with section. And what it did, it just let him know that people were working on the projects they were supposed to be working on and they hadn't got stuck somewhere and they were hiding from him. I do a version of this for myself, and I do encourage my clients to do a version of this, but I'll tell you about that in a minute. The version I do myself is every Monday morning I take my Steve Bartlett diary that I did the review for, and I write down what's been good, what am I working on, what are my challenges that I need to get help for. Whether the help comes in the guise of a Google search, a YouTube video, or talking to one of my mentors, those are the things I focus on during the week. I also have a little roundup of what's been good, because it's a really good idea to start your check-in with that, because it encourages you and makes you feel like you've made progress the previous week. So as I was editing this video, it occurred to me that it wouldn't be a bad idea to show you that I actually practice what I preach. So here's my check-in day report for the last week. What's been good? I've had a virtual summit invite. Someone booked themselves into my diary to invite me to feature in a virtual summit they're doing. I like virtual summits. It means I don't have to go anywhere. And it's an hour of my time and it helps people out, and it gets me in front of an audience that I wouldn't have got in front of otherwise. Very nice lady too. What else has happened? My Upwork experiment's going well. As a lead generator for consultancy work, I've shortlisted 68 jobs in the last week, which means I've just put a heart next to them and they go into my saved jobs list. Of those, I've written a short proposal for 19 of them. And of those, 3 have got back to me. A few more than that have read it, but it's about 6 or 7 have read my proposals. 3 have got back to me, and I've had 1 actual Zoom meeting, and we're still in discussions, and very, very interesting guy. And the other one is planned for this week coming. They're looking for a Webinar Jam expert. So I used Webinar Jam for years, absolutely love the software, really pleasant to use it. So I'm happy to help them with that. What else is good? Traffic to my new landing pages hosted on card.co is building steadily. I think that's because my other websites have now been closed down because the hosting's run out. And so I think the redirected traffic is now making its way to my new card websites, which are nice and simple. What else has happened? I just resisted spending just over £1,000 today on a new camera setup. I've been watching a new YouTuber called Laura Try, and she's very good. Highly recommend her. She's very engaging and she does good videos. And she became a YouTuber at the age of 38. So she's, she's quite encouraging because she's not a youngster. So yeah, I watched her videos, and she, I was looking at her list of stuff, and she had a tiny Sony camera like the one I had when I was in Greece, but my one wasn't that good because I wasn't able to plug in an external audio socket. And why do I want a new camera? Because my laptop webcam is a bit rubbish, and I tried a plug-in cheap webcam on the top of it, and it didn't work very well. It made me too far away, and I wasn't filling the screen like I am here. Anyway, I nearly got sucked into that, a selfie stick sort of gimbal thing, a proper microphone for it, and all the gadgets and gizmos and gubbins that go with a lovely new bit of kit. So I backed off at the last minute. So I'm pleased with myself about that, because really an iPhone's all you need. But I am struggling to work out how to use it as a webcam on Zoom specifically, because it keeps going out of sync, audio and video, and I haven't quite figured out how to fix that yet. Yes, that drops down to what I need help with. But before we get there, let's talk about what I'm working on. Only 2 videos up on YouTube this week, unless I put one on tomorrow, and then that would technically count as 3 in a week, but it's cheating if they're not spread out nicely. So yeah, I went through a bit of a, what's the word, crisis of confidence? No, not that. Crisis of ideas? No, I've got plenty of those. Just personal stuff really getting in the way of making a YouTube video. It sort of just made me feel a bit ugh. But I have recorded the intro and outro to 2 Zoom sharing screen-based videos that I'm going to put up. The first one is how to use AI if you're an Amazon seller. Did a webinar with Neil Asher, for his Aussie online entrepreneurs just recently, and that went very well. So I thought I'd re-record a bit of the content to put onto YouTube to go with my other marketing your business with ChatGPT and marketing your book with ChatGPT and marketing your podcast with ChatGPT. So if you haven't seen those videos yet, go and click on the videos tab here and go and watch those, because I think you'll be amazed at what you can do with it. What else is happening? I've got, what am I working on? I'm working on trying to get out more. Daily walk, that's what I need to do. And I mean, you can't see behind the camera here, but I've got the most fabulous location here. If I just walked out of my door and across the footbridge, I'd be on the most gorgeous beach, and I could just walk up and down the boardwalk in the sunshine and then come home again. But I hate exercise, absolutely hate it. So I've got to figure out how to go and listen to something at the same time, because as the weather gets nicer, I've got no excuse. What else am I working on? Oh, better social media sharing. I didn't put anything on social media after Tuesday this week, which is a bit rubbish, isn't it? 3 days, nothing up there. Could have shared old videos, didn't need to be new ones. Could have shared old ones, oldies but goodies. So I'm a bit cross with myself about that. What do I need help with? I need help with LastPass on my phone. It's just not working. I put in the password and it just does nothing. And it's a bit of a liability, really. So I've just disinstalled it for the second time, and I'm going to reinstall it. I've turned my phone off and turned it back on again. And hopefully this time it'll work. It's because I've disabled the, face recognition. I don't really want to use face recognition. In fact, in the co-op today, I queued up for quite a while to go and actually interact with a human whose name is Sue. Actually, I know the lady in the co-op. She's called Sue. And I thought, no, I'm not going to go to one of these blooming machines, especially as Co-op and Tesco are the 2 main offenders at using face recognition. They're videoing you when you blooming pay for things. They can bugger off. Anyway, that's what I need help with this week. How to make LastPass work on my phone. I'll report in next week and tell you if it was working or not. Okay, so that's my check-in day to myself. What about you? Actually, it made me feel a bit better, I've got to say, because even though I'd only got 2 out of the 3 videos up on YouTube, and there was a big black hole where Wednesday should have been, the fact that I've recorded 2 intros to 2 other videos made me feel a bit better. So yeah, it's a good little check-in day, is a good little focusing session. So anyway, back to the rest of the video. It's one of those things that's easy to miss. If you don't do it, you get no sense of forward momentum and no way of knowing whether you're keeping on track with your vision traction organizer, which I've also covered in a previous video. Now, how do I get my clients to do it? I don't want them to write me anything, because that is just one more job for some very busy people to do. What I do is I try and get them to check in by calling into our live Thursday call. Now, if they can't call into the live Thursday call and they need some help, I will ask them to send me an email with their challenges on, and I'll cover my responses and my resources and what I would do in their situation on the Thursday call at the beginning. So the beginning of the call is any emailed responses, and then I go on to the people who are on the call and I say, right, what can I help you with? And that's their chance to just give me an update, or tell me what their challenges are, or just tell me if they've got some sort of emotional issue holding them back from taking action. You wouldn't believe the resistance. We all feel it. At the end of the video, I upload it to YouTube as an unlisted video, or if it's got particularly sensitive material on it, I'll put it onto my Vimeo account. I'll upload it to my private clients area, so all the people who weren't on the call can see the answers to their questions. The people who were on the call can watch the video again or listen to it, fast forward to their bit and make notes if they didn't, because I'd rather people didn't make notes when they're on the call. I want them to be 100% present. And by recording the call for them, I make sure that they've always got a reference to go back to. This is all within my Clicks and Leads Academy, by the way. I didn't mention that earlier. So how can you create a check-in day for yourself, even if you're only checking in with yourself? It's a great way to make sure you're getting some forward momentum, that you're keeping on track of the things you want to be working on, and that you're actually getting help when you need to. Whether it's by writing a journal once a week, whether it's by calling into your coach or checking into your coach by email, or whether you get an accountability buddy. That's another way to do it. If you've got a friend who's working on a project similarly, it doesn't have to be the same kind of project, it could just be that they're working on a project. That's a great way to do it. My sister Sarah and I, when our kids were little and we were sharing a house, we used to take the kids to the ballpark every Friday afternoon, get one of the appalling cappuccinos and sit there with our journals and ask each other, what's been good, what are you working on, and what do you need help with? And it's an absolutely brilliant tool. You don't have to be in business to do it either. I used to use it for my life because it gives you a little bit of time every week just to think about how things are going. Could they be improved, and do you need help with that? Just a little quick video here. I hope you found this useful. I look forward to seeing you very soon.